Welcome to Exposition. Valerie's not with us today. Not that she's not with us, but today it's just me, Mike Thompson, and my guest, Joy Duffy, who is an artist and instructional designer. So I would imagine the artist part is the side part and the designer part is the day job.
Yes, yes, I have to have a day job, but that lets me be way more free with my art because I get to do whatever I want and I don't have to worry about making a living at it. I just do my day job, do my art on the side, and
right.
Everything's awesome.
You can kind of please yourself with that and not just work at somebody else's.
Exactly, and I'm not you know, taking jobs that I don't want or trying to force, you know, work that isn't
I need
good.
to book so many.
Right. It's just I just do fun stuff and usually get to be way more creative than I would be if it were like a studio situation or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to work under pressure when you're an artist. Do you think, or do you think that lights a fire?
I'm a procrastinator, and I spent 3 years at a daily newspaper, so I'm that person who will know what I want to do, but I'll wait until I have exactly enough time left to do it and kind of throw it together at the end. Mm-hmm. So if I were a different type of person, I'd probably want to go a little bit at a time, but I'm definitely a huge procrastinator, and I think the pressure makes it better. But it's not like I'm not doing work the whole time. I'm thinking about it. It's just final push. I'm way better in the final hours.
Right. In my videography, even when I'm shooting, I'm editing in my head.
Yeah.
And then before I'm actually editing, I'm editing in my head. It's like, okay, this is going to go there, and I think I want this kind of thing here, and you know. So when I do sit down, it's pretty quick.
Yeah, like even if I have like a photo shoot coming up, I'll be thinking in my head, you know, okay, I've got to get this camera, and I've got to make sure, you know, I have all these props and everything. But I won't until, you know, the morning of. That's when I'll throw everything together and get it in the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I kind of sweat the. I got to make sure all my batteries are charged and all my cards are cleared out. I'm not erasing a project that I haven't got on the computer yet.
Yeah, you don't want to have that perfect shot and then your little battery icon comes on and you're like, oh, hold on, you know. So.
Okay, so how did you get where you're at now? You know, in high school, did you want to do, you know, art, or how did that come about, and how did you get to what you're doing now?
So I've always been a little off, pretty creative. In high school I was in a lot of advanced placement classes, so pre-calculus, advanced biology and stuff like that, so they told me not to waste my time with art. So I still just did it on the side. And then once I moved out here, I'm originally from Chicago, I moved out here to Gallia County in '99, and I went back to college as soon as my son was old enough to go to preschool. And I studied business, but I would take an art class on the side. So I actually learned how to do it correctly, you know, or at least like the correct method, so that I can incorporate that into what I do.
Yeah, it's funny how they teach you the correct way.
Right.
But you know, artists, we got to break the rules.
Well, that's the thing, you know, I'm like, okay, so I know what I'm supposed to do. So if I do it a little bit different, because you don't want to make the same art that everybody else makes. And so I did that. I finished up my degree. I worked for the local newspaper for about 3 years. That was excellent practice because not only, you know, you're going to show up at an event, you're going to take pictures, but you're going to boil it down to one, right? The one that tells the story.
Right. And then you got to keep your head on a swivel and look for the shot.
Well, and you have to be objective, right? Like you can't present one side of the story.
You can't? It seems like they do nowadays.
You might get some feedback on that. So, you know, when I was a photojournalist for an actual paper,
right.
we tried to be as objective as
Right.
possible. And it's a lot of exposure. You know, it's like writing a book report every day that 5,000 people read. So if you mess something up, you will get feedback on that as well.
Right. I don't know if it's any worse being a small town newspaper because everybody knows everybody and you will hear about it.
Oh yeah, you'll totally hear about it. And then, you know, when the newspapers kind of started to get replaced by more online stuff, they eliminated my position. And so I was here in Gallia County with a master's degree and just looking for employment. So I did a lot of small jobs. I worked at a coffee shop. I worked for the government. I managed teams for the Census Bureau of like 30 to 60 people. I'm very good at human management, and people like to work for me. You know, I'm a good boss. But that's also a temporary position. And then I applied to work for Amazon as a seasonal customer service agent. I worked there as a customer service agent for about a year, helping with Kindle support. I was a Kindle coach for a while. I moved into some leadership. I eventually became a trainer, and then I ended up in my current position, which is instructional design. So I make lessons that train people how to provide customer service.
And it's still within probably, and I, you know, make the same comparisons, communication.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you were in the newspaper and you're taking a picture and you're trying to communicate something to an audience and you're still doing that.
Well, and you have to be creative with it, but you also have to stay within certain parameters. So it makes it like very, very challenging. And of course you have to be objective. You know, you can't be all blamey in your lessons or anything like that. So it's interesting and it's challenging, but it definitely fits with my skill set because it's taking, you know, all these technical skills and how can we put this into a lesson that's easy for the customer service agents to digest, and then they can do their jobs properly based on what they've learned.
All right, so did you do photography first? Or what did you...
Like when I was probably in second grade, my uncle gave me one of those like disc cameras, and so like I would like save up my allowance to like send film out. So like I've always taken pictures, and I've always just, you know, really liked the challenge of bringing out somebody's personality, right? Like I don't want to take the senior picture where you go like this. And it's perfect lighting and, you know, charge you $1 bazillion for it. Like I want to get whatever your personality is. So yeah, and the switch to digital has been amazing. I know a lot of film photographers completely fought it and were like, no, you know, we're going to do it the old way. But digital frees you up to do more volume. You don't have to worry about the money of sending out the film for processing. There's not that pressure of I've got, you know, 24 shots and that's it. You can take a ton of pictures, and there's not that worry of I'm wasting money, I'm wasting time, and the quality is equivalent to film. Yeah,
and you know, I can't imagine doing it today, but you know, heading off to a wedding with like 5 rolls of 36
oh yeah, plus
pictures,
there's like,
and then I shoot the picture. Well, I hope that turned out okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
I mean,
so
the
much
numbers
that can
are
go
right.
wrong. You know, I'm a procrastinator, so like, you know, and I've done darkroom photography, so like I will scratch my negatives, I will mess up my chemicals, I might get that beautiful image and I might accidentally expose it. You know, like a ton of things can go wrong. So with digital, the good things is you don't have to deal with the chemicals. You know, and it's all available, and you have way more manipulation techniques, and
oh yeah,
you know, you can print on anything.
Yeah, I don't know, the magic is kind of gone, because it's kind of cool to be in the dark room and like throw it in a bath or something and psh, there comes your image. I'm
over the dark room. Like I would love to have like a small dark room in my house at some point in time, but it's so the potential for disaster is definitely very high.
When we bring up some photos that you've taken, we can talk about those. Okay, that's not a photo, but what do you call that?
So this is a painting. So what I do is I'll take, I take my photographs, and then I use some of those techniques that I learned in actual art school. So I'll take my photographs and I'll kind of take the lines from them, I'll collage them together onto a poster board, and then I use a reductive technique. I use rubber cement, and I'll paint on top of my line drawing, and then I'll use rubber cement to kind of, all the white parts that you see I cover them with rubber cement, and then I paint on top of it and paint on top of it. And then at the end, the rubber cement's dry, you take off the rubber cement and all the white parts are preserved, if that makes any sense.
Go back. What's this here?
So this one kind of reminds me of a tarot card.
Okay, I was thinking playing cards of some sort.
Yeah, so it was just 4 portraits that I thought fit together really nicely. A lot of my paintings have like probably between 7 and 20 different images in them, so I'm trying to kind of simplify my work a little bit, but still get that cool effect. Because
to me, it's almost, some of it looks like doodling.
Yeah, well, that's the looseness of the rubber cement, right? So you're deliberate with your line, and then I can just go crazy with the rubber cement and paint. So like that one, it's really hard to tell what's going on, but if you get up close,
people's heads in it?
There's tons of people in there, and that one won first place at a show. So it's really cool looking when it's done, but it's like film, like the whole time you're working on it, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to turn out.
Seems like it would take forever.
It takes forever. I want to cry like when I'm close to the end of any of the line drawings, and then I don't want to ruin them with paint, right? I'm like, this line drawing looks really good.
Could you copy it and then let's work on the copy?
I've been taking, I take digital pictures of all the stages, and I've had some people be like, I'd love to color that because, adult coloring books are really big right now. I just haven't found a good venue or a way to kind of distribute those line drawings so that other people could color them in, but I would love to do collaborations
Etsy,
like
I guess,
that.
Huh?
Yeah, I got that day job. I don't have time to Etsy.
Yeah, I looked at those pictures and it's like, good God, I don't have the patience for that.
It takes a really, really long time, and sometimes I'll just set them to the side and not, it might take me 6 months or a year to finish one of those paintings, and I might have 2 or 3 going on at once. So if I get too frustrated, I'll just put it down and walk away.
Okay, back to photography.
All right, so this is Isabella Enrico. Jerry Enrico is a really awesome local artist. You should check out his work. He's fantastic.
Yeah, we've had a show with him here.
He's great.
Look him up.
He's my, I call him my art nemesis because we have totally different styles and we go to all the same shows and we both sort of compete, but we're good friends. He's fantastic. But that was his daughter. This is a pinup shoot I did here in Gallia County. This is like this big army truck that was sitting by the side of the road. I'm terrible because when I'm driving, I'm looking for things that I can pull over and shoot on. So this was just a great big army truck, and we were kind of afraid to get on it, and then we ran away really quick, but then the next week it was gone. And we have these awesome pictures. This is Miss Beth, who did not want to model for a very, very long time, but as you can see, she's absolutely gorgeous. And I have a really old DSLR that takes really good black and whites.
Okay.
So this is just out in a field, like I said, I'm not a really big fan of in the studio, very, senior picture-y stuff, but take a girl, put her in a prom dress, throw her in a cornfield, and it looks cool.
Have you ever done one of the, I just seen one of my friends put up some pictures. I don't know if it's called Wreck the Dress or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's where a girl gets divorced and then they take the wedding dress that they had from that.
If you have the picture with the big splashy thing with the girl with the guitar, looks like water everywhere.
So it's like a Wreck the Dress, and they'll just pour stuff on it or set it on fire. Or
yeah. So this is her wedding dress, and she's now divorced.
Is it black?
It was a black wedding dress. She's a very non-traditional girl, but yeah, she was like, and I'm bringing my wedding dress, and I'm willing to ruin it.
That's great.
So those are really, really fun, especially because you don't know what's going to happen. But it's really freeing to be able to just kind of be loose with it. So usually for each photo shoot I do, I tell the girls, bring a basket full of any kind of accessories, shoes that are good for looking at and not walking in, and bring something to ruin at the end. So my order history is terrible because it's I need blood and paint and balloons, and I have all sorts of weird stuff that I order all the time.
Hopefully no body bags and shovels.
No, just lots of blood, and I always need it by the weekend, so I'm sure I'm on a list somewhere.
Okay, well, we're going to take a very short break, and we'll be back talking with Joy Duffy. Welcome back to Exposition. I'm Mike Thompson. I'm here talking with Joy Duffy about photography. So let's get back into some pictures. That's not the right
That's
picture.
Mike.
It's beautiful, but
Yeah,
it's not art. There you go.
So this picture was really fun. We did this at the Rio Grande Reservoir, or the Tycoon Lake.
Oh, okay.
And
I thought that looks bigger than the reservoir.
yeah, but it was like right around prom time, so there were a whole bunch of people like in kayaks, like going around us, just openly staring at us. This is over out by Raccoon, by the O.O. McIntyre Raccoon Creek. So we just go in there and play. It's nice. We don't know what to expect, and we haven't gotten injured so far. We always try for an incident-free photo shoot. But we have such beautiful landscapes here in Gallia County and everything. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. This was senior pictures for a girl, and she was a beautician. So we did a lot of pictures with like scissors and stuff like that.
Did she make this thing in the front, or what's...
No, she just really, really liked it. It was like her favorite shawl or something like that. And sometimes I'm just trying to catch
out
the
in the barn,
sunshine.
I guess?
We went to like this really old house that was like her family house, and it was really cool because we did senior pictures, but her whole family was with her, so we got family pictures.
Oh, huh.
And like the old homestead was like dilapidated and like ready to fall in, so you won't see that again for a long time. This is actually a paid photo shoot, so this girl is absolutely gorgeous. Her husband restores old cars, so they met us with like this beautiful Camaro, and we just rode around and took pictures on motorcycles and in the car. This was fun. This was in Huntington, and this was again just another one just for fun. So we like snuck in a building that we thought had a really cool looking lobby.
Well, it's nice that it's just like all one color and it doesn't take away from...
Yeah.
Slow down with the pictures.
Oh, you're fine. This is lights that I thought were really cool. Inanimate objects are like really, really challenging because you can't really sass them around like you can a person.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard to get, everybody's like, oh, I want that one, stock image, but stock images are actually really, really hard to get. But I thought those lights were cool, and I thought the contrast looked pretty good. And there's me in action with, again, the beautiful girl on the motorcycle, and that's just there's a local farmer out on Centenary, and I said, hey, I love your fence. Do you care if usually if you have a beautiful girl and a nice vehicle, and you ask if you can take pictures near something, people will usually say yes.
Yeah.
This is actually a collaboration that I've been doing with another art student. So the photograph is mine, and I took that in India, and then I sent her a bunch of actual physical photographs, and then she glued them to watercolor paper, drew what she imagined was happening outside of the picture, and then sent them back to me, and I painted them using the rubber cement technique.
Okay, so the outside of it, that's just something you photographed on. That's not part of the picture. The concrete?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the part with the dog's head, that's like the actual picture.
Right.
And then everything else she drew.
And then below it, what's that? Is that just like...
That's
paper towels and
stuff?
stuff?
Yeah, paper towels. I'm messy. That's why I shouldn't.
So that's not part of it?
It was part of the process. Like
okay.
Here, I have the finished one. So when it's all done, it looks like this.
Okay, go to 3. Here we go. So that's a finished one.
Yeah, and you can see this is just a, it's a
and that's
photograph
not your dog,
glued
right?
on there. No, it was a little doggy that came to the smoking area in Hyderabad, India, and it kind of belonged to everybody, and it just took a nice nap in the sunshine.
Okay. At least it wasn't roadkill.
No, no.
That'd be a little scary.
And it went down there every day, so every day I would see it, and I would be like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of that dog today, because you don't, strange dogs, you probably shouldn't get too close, but it was a friendly little dog.
Yeah. What else do you have in those pictures?
We have got, so this is another one with Isabella Enrico, and you can see it's just got the line on there, so I'll go through and paint on top of that.
So this is the picture right here.
Yep.
And this is what this other person drew.
Yep, and it's Amanda Jolly. She's also a former Rio, or she's a Rio alumni, so
okay.
Former Rio student. This is like a Snow White picture, and she said it reminded her of piggies, so I like that.
Piggies.
I'm looking forward to painting that one in. This picture was in Montevideo, Uruguay, and they had a really cool graffiti up in there. So she just kind of continued the graffiti theme, and then I painted it with the colors that were in the graffiti.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird because some of them, like this one, you can't really tell that it's a picture and a painting. And the same thing, you know, she just continued what she saw in the picture.
Right.
And then I painted on top of it. So yeah, like most artists work alone, but I really like collaborating with other artists. I've got another artist in Seattle where I'll mail her pieces that I didn't want to finish, and she'll mail me pieces that she didn't want to finish, and then we finish each other's works. And it's really cool. Like, I wish more artists would collaborate.
Huh. Never really thought about that.
Most people don't. I have another one that my office mate would doodle during conference calls, and he had this like really weird elaborate doodle, and I was like, if you're going to do that, do it on a nice piece of paper. So I gave him a nice piece of paper, and then he got done with it. He's like, here, you want to paint on it? So I painted on it, and it ended up being a really, really cool piece. But you just, you know, it's like being a musician, you know, like you should be willing to collaborate with others. And I know a lot of artists
Right.
really like to, you know, the appeal is you get to work alone, you get to do your own thing. But, you know, I would have never thought of any of this
Right.
stuff.
You're going to ruin my vision, but the thing is that the combination brings out
Yeah.
the third thing.
Well, and especially if you don't have a vision, you're like, you know, here's what I did. Do whatever you want with this and send it back to me. It's cool.
What else? Okay, here we go.
Ah, okay. So another thing that I like to do is I'll take a picture and I'll get it printed out. And
Black
that
and
picture
white?
isn't, no, that's just in color. That's not altered at all.
So somebody had a...
Yeah, she was dressed up as Harvey Dent for a cosplay event. And so she had half like really nice face and half like crazy skull face with that, those eyelashes and stuff.
And the lens on the...
Yeah, yeah. So she looked really, really cool. But then I took that and I added like stamps and embossing powder and painted on top of it with paint markers and ended up making a really, really super
So
cool
that's
image.
not the end product.
No, no.
That's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was pretty cool the way it is.
Well, the eyeball looks cool, but when you see the eyeball with all the other stuff on it, it looks even cooler.
Okay.
So, and this is something like really similar. Like I took that photograph and it was a nice black and white photograph. And then I used embossing powder and paint markers and stuff like that just to, I don't know, I'm trying to, since I don't have any rules and I have a day job, I'm trying to like break my own methods. So why shouldn't you be able to paint on top of a photograph?
It looks a little bit, I don't know, like early 70s, I don't know, that mod kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Psychedelic, maybe.
Yeah, and that old car, like that car was like from the 20s, like it was like parked out back of someplace.
A running car or just a
Oh no,
junker?
no, it was a junker. Somebody
Okay.
almost fell through it while we were taking pictures.
Oh, there's the...
Yeah, there's the Snow White one, and you know this was such a short shoot. We did this in maybe 30 minutes, and I got some of like the best images ever, just because the lighting was so nice. The Foothills Festival in Jackson, where this was taken, is coming up in the beginning of October. So if anybody's an aspiring artist or you know an aspiring artist, it's open to adults, it's open to children. Everything that's entered gets displayed, which is really nice. And they get a really big audience, and it's just right there in Jackson at the old 4-H camp.
Okay, interesting. This is selfies?
We always got to try to take a selfie, you know, so I try to be creative with the selfie. I don't want to be like the same selfie as everybody.
Now, is that the camera you normally use, or is this...
So I have
I
several.
wanted to get into the camera thing, so...
So I don't have like any special equipment. You know, I do have a DSLR. It's just a regular DSLR. It's not anything fancy. But this guy is my favorite. This is just a regular Canon PowerShot. It's maybe a $200 camera, but it's waterproof, it's drop proof, which makes it accident proof for me.
Makes it joy proof.
Yeah. So I just keep this in my pocket all the time, but I've done some really, really cool underwater stuff. I just did a mermaid photo shoot where we like got in a pool and did underwater.
Cool.
And this guy's not as intimidating, right? Like if I'm up in your face with this guy, it's kind of scary and it kind of changes the mood. But if I've just got this little guy, like you're not afraid, it's just fine.
Right.
Plus I can bring this into any place and nobody's going to bug me. I can take it to a concert or whatever.
Right.
It fits in my hand, it fits in my pocket. And I'm not worried you know, with this guy,
Oh,
when
you're
I
a
travel,
professional. You're going to make money off of shooting our concert and all that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Or they want you to leave it in your car, and especially traveling. Like the last thing you want to do is travel and be the person with, you know, taking pictures on your iPad or have this giant DSLR out. Like this guy lets me be incognito. Like nobody knows I'm a professional.
And that's one of the things, that question of, you know, photographers, what kind of camera do you use? Like that really makes a big difference, you know?
It doesn't. Like
You can, if you know what you're doing, you can take a good picture with something like that. You can take it with your phone.
well, and your
if you know
eye
how to
can't
do
tell
it
the
with the
difference.
light.
You know, and that's exactly it. It's a matter of catching the subject, the light, the moment. You know, all of those things have to come together. It's a combination of luck and skill, right? So you have to be skilled enough with your equipment to know how to catch the stuff, but you also have to be lucky enough to be in the right spot at the right time.
Right. Yeah, some of the best shots I've gotten were just by accident.
Yeah, like absolutely.
I didn't
accident.
go out planning to shoot that, but it came
Yeah.
out and it's like, wow, cool.
Well, and that's my favorite photo shoots are ones where it's like, let's just go out and have some fun and get some pictures and bring whatever and we'll do whatever.
That's a slightly stressful part, you know, if I shoot a wedding or portraits, is not knowing what I'm going to get
Yeah.
beforehand. And then, you know, by the end of the day and after I've brought it back and put it on the computer and edited things, well, that everything turned out well. Can we go to the two-shot? I'm just talking to my...
Where?
The two-shot. Yeah, camera 2. Okay, so that's it.
All right.
We're at the end of our half hour, and thanks for coming and showing us
welcome.
your art. It's very interesting. And you all, thanks for watching Exposition, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, guys.